Welcome to Glückstadt, a place designed by a Danish king as a new, utopian city that would bring great fortune and prosperity. Even its name means City of Luck or City of Happiness. But it ended up failing so miserably that it made nobody happy, didn't become a city, and isn't even in Denmark anymore. In 1617, the King of Denmark, this guy, Christian IV, had an idea. They'd spent centuries watching their Germanic neighbours to the south in Hamburg develop a huge trading hub for all of Europe and get filthy rich off of the maritime economy. Christian wanted some of that prosperity for himself, and looking at a map, it's easy to understand how he would have planned to do that. Well, Denmark owns the whole northern bank of the river in and out of Hamburg, so if I start a new rival trading city here, further up, closer to the sea, then I can outcompete them. Either people will stop and trade with us instead, or we can charge them a toll to continue on to Hamburg. Either way, we get rich and I win. I just need to make it seem like enough of a utopia to get people to actually move there. So over 1,000 Danish soldiers were sent to work building this town that I'm in now, reclaiming land and building bastions, sea walls, moats, arsenals, harbours, canals, and above all, the town itself. This was all guided by a new form of Renaissance idealism. They envisioned a kind of star shape with a central marketplace and streets radiating out like the rays of the sun. And you can see that part of what survives of that big idea can still be seen from above today. But the star thing wasn't just a cool layout, it was actually that era's state-of-the-art design, optimized to fend off invaders. Glückstadt was part trading hub, part fortress, and this would protect the king's financial interest from outsiders, but even more importantly, it would convince the mercantile elite class that they could move here and feel safe. So he christened it the City of Happiness and advertised it with a coat of arms featuring Fortuna, the goddess of luck. He offered huge tax breaks to the first settlers and promised that they could trade freely, unburdened by bureaucracy or tyranny, in a new economic paradise. Not to mention the prospect of living in a town that's almost sort of shaped like the sun. That's pretty cool. But the crucial factor was promising religious freedom. Persecuted minorities from all over Europe suddenly flocked to Glückstadt, bringing with them an incredibly diverse set of contacts and expertise. This grew the civilian and economic life here way more rapidly than anyone expected, and Glückstadt began to blossom into an effective provincial trading hub, even developing its own fleet of whaling ships that went on missions to Greenland from this river throughout the 1600s. The king was so proud of this that he had even more fancy royal residences built in the area and spent a lot of his time here. When war came to Europe in the 1600s, Glückstadt proved its genius design and unbreakable spirit by surviving a 15-week siege. It was the only town in the area to make it out unscathed, even landing a few scratches on warships from Hamburg in the process, and seemed like it might be destined for greatness after all. But, spoiler alert, you have heard of Hamburg, and you haven't heard of Glückstadt, so this showdown can only end one way. So the question remains, with all of that going for him, why did his big plan fail so miserably? Why did Glückstadt not compete with Hamburg? For one, as the world map expanded and the global economy grew over the next few centuries, traders worldwide had heard of Hamburg and had connections there that they were loyal to. So many boats were carrying on down the river to Hamburg that Denmark couldn't physically enforce tolls on all of the traffic. Those centuries in Glückstadt were characterized by declining fortunes, declining reputations, floods, more wars, more sieges that actually did dent the defences, and gradually the new merchant class here gave up the dream and all the civilians left for Hamburg. Before too long, Glückstadt was a ghost town, just a Danish barracks with a few soldiers in it. Definitely not a city and definitely not making anybody happy, and nobody saw any value in trying to get it going again. Particularly by the 1800s, when a unified Germany pushes north and actually wins all of this land off of Denmark. After that, and even to this day of course, Glückstadt and Hamburg are in the same country anyway, so why would they care about outcompeting themselves? Ultimately, Hamburg was just destined to be the high volume lord of all trade. Nothing proves this, by the way, like standing at the little tiny harbour in Glückstadt today, watching these leviathans roll past, ignoring Glückstadt and heading for the insanely huge deep-water docks at Hamburg. So the official city of happiness didn't have its economic boom and was instead besieged. That's not very lucky or fortunate, that's more miserable, and was ultimately conquered and is now in a different country to the one where it was founded. That's not very utopian. In fact, the obvious irony there is that while Denmark always ranks in the top 1 or 2 places in the World Happiness Index, Glückstadt is now in Germany, which ranks much further down in the 20s. But a good idea is a good idea forever, and it may not have worked out in his time, but look at it today. It's gorgeous, and I've loved my time here. Visiting has genuinely made me happy. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to hear another deep dive from me about another place that competed with Hamburg in a very different way, then you can click here to watch this video next.